Well, this is going to be an interesting one. As an anime-only viewer of Promised Neverland, it seems this adaptation has truly gone anime original. A shocking turn of events that has left many manga readers angry and mad. We'll be discussing the show's change to anime original, what this means for the quality of the show, and what my personal opinions are. As well, we'll first be discussing the events of the episode. The raid on the shelter by the farm, Isabella's glorious return, some really weird plot holes, and much more. You really don't want to miss this video or any of the other videos, as over 90% of you watching are unsubscribed. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to never miss a Promised Neverland or Attack on Titan video. Let's get right into it. So, first off, the phone call from the last episode is in reality a recording by William Minerva, real name James Rattray. He is the person who left behind all of those clues and messages for the children to use to escape. He wishes he could have met them all, and during this we see shots of the room that has help written across the walls. There, they find a book, which is written by the last person in this group who decided to head towards the human world as they can't take being alone any longer. Speaking of, they have the option to do just that as well. All they have to do is type future into the pin and it will show them a map to where they want to go. The thing is, the human side is extremely far away from their current destination. You have to wonder in their state if the kids would even be able to make it this far. They are extremely smart, they've been taught well by Sonju and Mujika, but do they have what it takes to navigate a world where there are giant monsters, demons looking to eat them, or use them to live in luxury for 6 months? For me, I think they will have a hard time surviving just based on how harsh the demon side is for humans. Not a thing is built to cater to them, but instead caters to the much more physically imposing demons. But you also have to ask, what happened to these other kids from the shelter? Well, in my opinion, I think they were hunted and picked off by demons or recaptured by the farm-dwelling demons. Then we see yet another happy montage of the kids just living their best life. While I like to finally see the kids enjoy their new life, I also think that they have already been using these montages way too much to skip over lots of events like learning from Soju and Mujika, and now this. Though I have to say, this one seemed much less useful to me as a viewer. I realize they only have 11 episodes to make this happen, but we're 4 episodes in now, and I'm pretty sure we could have just skipped this montage entirely. Like, why did we really need another montage? I get that it establishes that Dawn falls asleep at the monitors often and using the radio and learning the cave system in a case of emergency, but it all feels so quickly thrown out there with no time to let that sit in the back of your head. Instead, what we get here is something that feels more, and I don't want to say it, but lazy, which I had my own issues with season 1 having their own lazy aspects, but this feels rather, I don't know, maybe the word is cliche and generic. I feel like there could have been way better ways to do this part than just another montage. We then see another lighthearted scene where they try to hunt for something better to eat, which leads them to hunt these fish tree things they dub gooey. The thing is, they produce a lot of slime, which makes them hard to catch, but they succeed anyways and have a rather humorous taste test to see if they're poisonous to humans. Turns out they're good, but I can't be the only one that thought that this scene would lead to some really messed up death of one of these characters. Maybe that's just me being trained by the show to expect the worst and they're just trolling. But hey, comment below if you thought the same thing. I'm rather curious. Then there is the radio. It's February now, which means some time has passed and everything is going okay with the farm. Keep this in mind as it's important to a theory of mine that will explain, hopefully, what is not a possible plot hole from this episode. Now, we get on to the first part of the good stuff. We see, for the first time since the end of season 1, Isabella in a cell. Of course, me being a JoJo fan, I thought she would call Grandma a bitch and have her block a bullet point blank. Grandma expresses how much it means to lose such a competent person like her, and that she'll return the children unharmed, which Isabella will be able to see soon. Yep, this is what I was waiting for. I freaking loved Mother Isabella in the first season, and by the end, I wanted to see what her role would be in this season, which we now know will be to track down the kids and bring them back, though we'll discuss more of that later in the episode. For now, it's good to see Isabella back in the show again, especially her long, flowing black locks of hair. Isabella, which, man, I gotta say, I dig it. I really do. But Ray and Emma need to make a plan to rescue Phil not. They've been found out by the people within the farms, which we then see are first actual automatic weapon in this series, an MP5 of all things. I honestly didn't know that there would be weapons in Promised Neverland, but here we are. The kids figure that they're from the house, and thus they have to leave the shelter as it's not safe anymore. As this is happening, we see another scene with Isabella, which this time it's between her and the demons, not grandmother. They call her by her number, which shows how the demons view humans, as cattle or, well, as numbers. There, they present the Vita plant, and they ask her if she wants to see the children one more time. What I like about this is that it shows that Isabella and the demons both realize the connections that they have. There is some sort of respect between them that shows while the mothers are ultimately there to ship off kids for food, just to do a job, they still understand that there is a very strong connection between the children and their mothers. I thought that was pretty cool, but that is just my take after all. But what Isabella says is very interesting. She knows that the kids will get away as Isabella was in charge of this special batch of children. As the kids regroup to escape, they are confronted by an armed gentleman who reassures them that they never had any freedoms to begin with. Ah, beautiful, isn't it? But what he says is interesting. He mentioned that the layout of shelters are quite similar. This, to me, says a lot of things. The main one being there are many of these shelters everywhere, which could suggest that they know how to easily track them down and then surround them quite easily. This is huge because this also suggests that with there being more shelters, that there are even more people within them, probably not knowing that there are more people out there that have escaped. My theory is that the kids will come across more shelters of people to increase their chances of survival. As they escape, they are confronted by even more armed men, which leads to a rather cool scene, but a little bit of a confusing one. Let me explain. So, this monster comes out of nowhere and wipes out a bunch of men. This leads to one of the kids firing at the monster. Why? Aren't these kids supposed to be super smart? Seems rather dumb to draw attention to yourself like that. Also, how did these men get faked out by these kids by throwing stuff at them in that earlier scene? I don't know. It just seems like they ran out of time and needed a quick way to get them on to the next scene to me, which suggests bad pacing. You also have to wonder how the guards found them to begin with. It obviously wasn't because of Mujika and Sonju killing the demon, as they killed them in the last episode, or supposedly, we don't know. My theory is that they used the radio signals to track down the kids, though honestly, I can't see this as a plot hole just yet, at least until the next episode. If they don't address this, then this will simply make no sense and rely on the viewer to come up with an explanation, which is not how you write stories. But you know what a good thing is? Joining my Discord server. Links in the description below. Haha! Another good thing, though, is Isabella, who is now tasked to retrieve her children, hunting them down one by one to get them back to the farm. Well, if she is able to retrieve them, she will get total freedom. Everything, even the tattoo, will be removed from her neck and she will be set free. But that won't be the only reward. She accepts, and now we begin a totally new version of the Promised Neverland. Before we get into the controversies, we should discuss this scene though. What is Isabella's other reward? She's getting her freedom, the device in her heart removed, and the tattoo, but something else. What is it? In my opinion, that extra reward is the ability to live on the human side of the planet with more benefits. I think this because of the tattoo. Why would they want to remove that other than because it was an easy identifier for people on the human side to remove humans born on the demon side, essentially deporting them. As well, I'm calling it now. By the end of this series, Isabella will be redeemed. That look she had at the end of the series for season 1, the way she looked at Emma, the kids she cherished while the farm was burning, I think Isabella is due for a face turn, and the worst mother will now become the best mother. Oh, did I mention this episode of Promised Neverland gets a MILF out of 10. Now, let's get into the controversy surrounding this whole anime adaptation. After this episode ended, I took to the internet to get an update on if they changed anything. Now, thankfully, r/The Promised Neverland had a lot of spoiler-free details, so a big thanks to them, and it seems the adaptation is skipping an entire arc from the anime, and they skimmed on the details for the kids escaping from the shelter, and gave more detail for the Mother Isabella scene, even more so than they did in the manga. Now, there have been plenty of angry people on the subreddits, on the Twitters, all over the internet who aren't going to watch this anime because they skipped out on this certain arc which so many people prefer as their favorite even over the original first season. I even took to my community tab to ask people to vote and comment on a poll where I ask what they think about the direction this anime is taking. With an overwhelming 685 votes, thank you guys so much for voting. I'm sure there are even more now, so thank you for the potential thousands of voters I haven't even begun to mention. 7% said the anime was ruined, 7% said it's still good, 4% said hopefully they add it later, and a whopping 67% we have to wait and see. The winning vote is, well, an opinion that I share. Let's go back for a moment. Let's take, for example, Full Metal Alchemist and its second adaptation, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Both are original adaptations in their own right, as Brotherhood adapts it fairly one-to-one, but still has some original moments. The original FMA from 2004, or is it 2003, is still an amazing anime though. A classic of the anime genre. Essentially, it's just as good, if not better than Brotherhood in other aspects. So I think it's still too early to make a decision, as we know the mangaka is working with the anime writers and directors to change up the story. All this could mean really is that the arc manga fans are waiting on will likely just happen next season. To me, there's no reason to really get mad about this change quite yet. And yeah, this episode wasn't perfect. It had its blemishes for sure, but a couple mistakes and bad decisions doesn't make a whole adaptation ruin for me. To say otherwise, I think is a little short-sighted. Now, I will say that if they don't add this content back in, and the quality of the anime dips, yeah, I'll be right there with everyone, anime and manga fans, who believe this adaptation is ruined. Because at that point, it would be. But I think we have to wait an episode or two to decide here. For me, there was a lot more positive in this episode than negative. We get to see Mother Isabel again, a confusing but ultimately nice action sequence with a really well done CGI monster, the information from James Ratry, and a look into the dynamics between the mothers and demons. Especially the trust they put into Mother Isabella for these special groups of kids. This was a good episode despite its flaws. So I think we just have to wait and see, honestly. But I don't want to wait and see what your thoughts are, so please comment them down below. As well, be sure to like this video while you're at it, as YouTube likes it if you not only like and comment on videos. Also, I cover Promise Neverland every Friday on Rising Sun's channel with him, links in description to that podcast, and every Monday on my own King of Anime podcast, along with anime like Attack on Titan, ReZero, Mushoku Tensei, and somehow X-Arm. Don't want to miss all of that. Subscribe, have a nice day, stay safe, bye-bye.